Alright. The Bible is a book for all people for all time. It is a record from people that were smart enough to write down the experiences that they were going through and throughout the period of their lifetime. There has been many records inside the Bible, and there's actually one that's been looked over and nobody's really looked into it except for an exclusive group of people. Most the general people don't know about these extraterrestrials that have been mentioned many times in the Bible, and they're called Nephilims, also known as Nephilims. My claim is that Nephilims are intelligent extraterrestrials that have also inhabited this earth. So first, I will be going over how the Bible helps to prove the existence of these Nephilims. And secondly, I'll go over actual archaeological findings that have been found across the world about these Nephilims. So in the King James Version of the Bible, the Nephilims have been brought up various times in over 10 books in the entire Bible. The Nephilims have been supported in many different books, but the main book that I feel has really made it more obvious that they have existed is in the book of Genesis. And in the book of Genesis, it states that the Nephilims were on the earth in those days and also after that, when the sons of God came down unto the daughters of men, and they bore children with them. So it's not that hard to grasp. Basically, it's like angels or people that God has sent down from some unknown place that we have not heard of, and they bore children with the daughters of men here. And so enough of how the Bible supported it. We can move on to more stone, cold facts that more people it's easier for them to grasp because it's much more tangible. There have been archaeological findings. One of the really big archaeologists his name is Julio Tello, a Peruvian archaeologist, and he found an enormous, intricately designed graveyard containing some of the largest skulls ever found in Peru. He wasn't found in the world, but he was in Peru when he found them, and he wasn't the only one to find these nearly large, nearly complete, if not fully complete, bodies buried underground. They were found across the world. They have been discovered in Greece, and a lot of them have been debunked. But they're becoming people are believing that they are true because they have been found even more places that would kind of support maybe this isn't the only one. They have been found in places in the east coast of the U.S., the borders of Bulgaria, Saudi Arabia, Rome, England, and that's just those are just in the recent years, probably since 2010 till now. And these bodies have been found at a measurement of about 15 feet tall, and it's incredible. They have superhuman strength. Their bones are very similar to those of men, and they have a very similar physical structure, except they seem to be some form of superhuman. And it's very rare that it's strange to me how not enough people know about them. So my claim was that there were other intelligent life forms that have lived on this earth, and that the Nephilims were one of them, if not the only one of them. And my claims were that the Bible did support them, and there are many people across the world that do believe in the Bible, and that there have been archaeological findings everywhere across the earth. Thank you.
All right, Jesse, at the beginning you kind of try to create some credibility for the Bible about how it's written and how extensively it is read, and how there's a lot of information in it and the wisdom of the people who wrote it down. And that's, I think, a reasonable attempt to try and create a little bit of ethos for the context of your argument. Your proposition is identifiable. There is a preview of what the supporting points are. I think there might be a little bit more explanation about what the controversy on this is. It sounds to me like you're kind of presenting an informative speech about this unknown aspect of history, and the connection to extraterrestrials, I think, is a little unclear. There's no demonstration that these, let's assume that the Nephilims really did exist. There's no demonstration that they came from any place other than here. And that's what I think is the main premise that's missing in your argument if you're going to stick with this extraterrestrial argument. That's a little bit problematic. Now, in the body of the speech, you labeled the 2 points. Basically, it says the Bible supports it and archaeology supports it. Those are clear claims. The biblical support basically consists of your mentioning that it's referred to 10 times in the Bible, and then you give us a specific quote from Genesis, which I'm not exactly sure. I don't even know where the name Nephilims came from. I don't know if it was a biblical name that was given to them. It's not one that's referred to in the Genesis quote that you've got here. And the description of them, there doesn't seem to be much more than a description. Like I said, the sons of gods bore children with the daughters of man, and that's, as proof, that seems to be a little abstract. Now, the second part of your argument, where you're talking about archaeological information that supports this, that's a little bit more, like you said, a little bit more concrete. The only reference that I get is this Julio Tello archaeologist, and it's a passing reference to him. I don't know if any of the other information that you cite comes from a book that he wrote, a speech that he gave, testimony that he provided. But I get a whole bunch of information about graveyards in Peru, and I don't get a source citation on it. That they have incredibly large skulls. Says who? Where did this information come from? That there was some in Greece also, and then you kind of undermine that by saying, but some of that's been debunked. So I'm going, well, wait a second, now there's a little bit of controversy about whether or not this is real or not, and I still don't know who's providing me with any of this evidence. And then you mention, and that's been found in the west or the east coast of the United States and some other places. I'm going, and where does this information come from? I have no data on this. You mentioned that they're 15 feet tall, and I'm going, okay, so where is that documented? Where's the information that you get? I'm going to look at your bibliography. Maybe it's in your bibliography someplace, but it's not in the speech, and that's what people are hearing. So this is the audience that you're talking to, not just me. I mean, I'm part of the audience too, and I've got the event, but that's a different grade than the speech grade, and you got to talk to these folks and give them the evidence that's going to convince them, and I think that that's missing there. All right, thank you.